Welcome humans to another episode of something different. Today we'll be talking about evidence of extraterrestrial. And to understand our future, we need to go back into our past. If our ancestors, thousands and thousands years ago, were no liars, no science fiction writers, what if they wrote the truth? First humans who were able to write, they wrote what they saw at that time. So of course the information is completely different with what we get right now than in the Stone Age. And humanity is now unique. NASA told us that in our Milky Way, not in the whole universe, specifically for the Milky Way, there are at least 4 billion of Earth-like planets, and that's absolutely crazy. Now, a few humans, they've been taken by extraterrestrial based on their writings and on their experience on Earth. The first example, in Mahabharata, in the 5th book, a young man called Arjuna, he was taken by extraterrestrial. He spent about 10 years there where he learned the language, he learned about astronomy as well. Arjuna is calling them the guardians of the sky. So apparently they have a lot of fights with each other. Later on, Arjuna realized that there were 3 cities in the sky, and these 3 cities, they were at the war. The author, Eric von Daniken, expressed the word heaven. It's completely wrong. It's interpreted wrong in our days. And it should be changed with space. It was a war in space. He said we simply have to change a few words of antiquity with the modern terms, and it will make more sense for our understanding. Now the second one, it's Prophet Elijah, which is another example who left planet Earth. Elijah went up in heaven in a weird wind. The example, Enoch, which he also went to heaven where they teach him, and he returned from heaven to earth. In the absolute glorious antiquity, the Book of Enoch, we find him. So who was Enoch? Well, in the Bible, it's shortly mentioned that he was one of the first ones to disappear with his body from planet Earth, and that he was the 7th generation after Adam. He's very little mentioned in the Genesis 5, 21 to 24, which I do have it here. Enoch walked faithfully with God, then he was no more because God took him away. That's not everything what says in the Bible, but that's the most important thing that says in the Bible. The interesting thing is that about 230 years ago, a Scottish explorer named James Bruce came to Ethiopia. And he was looking after God, he was looking for God, for answers. So he ended up in a convent in Ethiopia for about 30 years, where he found the Book of Enoch. This book is written in the first person. I saw, I did, I learned, etc. In the books, there are amazing stories of what happened to him. And one of them is that he saw a light coming down. A lot of noises, they were around the humanity, they start panicking, they start running away. Well, Enoch stayed and 2 strangers came to him, and according to his stories, they were not human. But one stranger said, "Don't be afraid, humans." And the experts were questioning how the ET knew Enoch's language. Well, of course, here's an answer for that as well. And it's believed that thousands of years ago, when they came down, they were watching the humanity. They started learning that language. Moving a little bit forward, Enoch was explaining in his book how when he went up, he saw gigantic building. These strangers, they were called the Watchers, and the Watchers, they were having sex with humans. And this is the same story in the Bible with the Nephilim. I move into Ezekiel, which he was a high priest at the Temple of Jerusalem. At his time, Jerusalem was taken over by the Babylonians. Everybody from the high status were captured by the Babylonians, including Ezekiel as well. So he starts saying he was captured near to the river of Chebar when the heavens were open. What does that mean, when the heavens were open? Is when the sky was open? Ezekiel described a light in the sky, a light that came down, and it was very, very bright, and it was very loud noises, like thundering of a waterfall. The vehicle came down into a standstill, and Ezekiel, because he was a high priest, he actually thought that was God. So he put himself on the knees. But of course he realized that it wasn't no God. Ezekiel described every details of the vehicle, and also he said they looked like humans. They were looking exactly like us. Now, Eric van Deniken speaks on Gaia, how in Chariot of God came up with the idea that Ezekiel could be talking, could be describing a spaceship. And of course, people, they laugh at Eric. Of course, they were criticizing him, including religious people. They call him crazy. But roughly 4 decades later, somebody from NASA asked him to have a secret speech. After the speech, the chef of the construction section of NASA, Joe Blumrich, said it was absolutely wonderful. But Ezekiel is imagination, Ezekiel is vision, Ezekiel is Bible, and it's nothing to do with technology. And funny enough, how time, it's brilliant, and Joe Blumrich took a different road, and he started learning about the Bible. He started reading the Bible and reading about Ezekiel and what happened to him. And later, he reconstructed every detail according to Ezekiel, and this was the outcome. I know later he had a little bit of help from a German engineer, and both of them, they came with this beautiful imagination, vision that they saw in Ezekiel's description. Now Ezekiel is talking about the wheel that was moving in any direction. He was moving left, he was moving right, he was moving backward, forward, any direction without using a steering wheel. And that's absolutely incredible, because later NASA is receiving a license for that specific wheel, and that wheel today is used on Mars, on the Mars rover. And that's absolutely crazy, how from nothing, you are ridiculous, that's not a spaceship, that's nothing, to actually recreate, reconstruct that and actually use it.